Hi guys, it's Sarah, the owner and creator of Multifarious Nature. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you are a new viewer, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. And for those of you that are back for another video, I'm so glad that you're back. And let's start with the works in progress shop update, shall we? Because I haven't dyed up any more yarn. I just haven't had the time to dye yarn at the moment, which is a little frustrating, but we'll get there. So it's the All the Lights cardigan, if you remember from the last video. That is by Locatelli. And this is what it looks like. It's a beautiful cardigan that has a bunch of lace, cabling, Aran patterning, which is kind of like a cabling design. And it's pretty intricate. So if you want a challenge, this is a really good pattern for that. And it takes a lot of focus, so it's not necessarily the best project to do when you're watching something that you're really interested in and stuff like that. So I'm trying to work on it whenever I can, but it is hard. So the only progress I really made, guys, is this. So I haven't completed that front side yet. I'm almost there. I'm about halfway there for the left side, because this goes down the back, and then this is the right side, which looks backwards in this video, but this is the right side, and this is the left side. So I'm still working on that left side, and you can see the needles are off because the needles I'm using for this are also the same needles I'm using in another pattern. So I switched them from this project to the other project, because the other project I can work on in the car very easily. It's just stockinette stitch, so just knit stitches constantly, and so it's really easy to do while I'm talking to someone, things of that nature, or if I'm watching something on TV. And I'm practicing actually watching and knitting at the same time, which is not easy, but that it's worsted weight yarn. This is fingering, and this is Multifarious Nature colorway that I dyed up in Scarlet. So if you're wondering what that looks like knit up, this is it. It's a beautiful red, nice tonal red. And just so you can kind of get an idea of where it's at, get my hair out of the way. There we go. So I've got coming down the front here, and then this will be coming down the front here. Just give you a little bit of an idea of where I'm at so far. So I still have a lot to do for this pattern, but slowly but surely getting there. But it is really a lot of fun to knit. It is. It's just super intricate, so it takes a lot of focus. So I mean, you can see all this beautiful Aran work and cabling and the lace work. It's really, really pretty. And there's some little bobbles in here too. So it's a really nice pattern, very easy to understand. It's just pretty darn intricate. I would definitely say that that is not a beginner pattern. If you're just learning to knit, I would not recommend that pattern. I'm sure there's others by Hoki that are really good beginner patterns, because my understanding is she's been making patterns for a while, but that one I would not recommend as a beginner pattern. So I've got some progress on that one. I've been knitting a lot this week, which is really nice, and I don't know, I got bit by the creative bug this week. Like, I just want to make all kinds of projects, and like I told you guys in other videos, I try not to do more than 3 projects at a time. So I worked like crazy at the beginning of the week to finish off my socks. So the surprise stripe socks, the pattern is by Johanna, which I did the Shake It Up shawl by her, which I loved. And this pattern, the beginning of the pattern, I did follow her pattern, but it's like a thigh-high sock, and I was just using my scrap yarn from a chick that knits yarn advent, and I didn't want to make that big of a sock. So I ended up making it rather short, like an ankle sock. I guess they'd call it an ankle sock. I finished them for the most part, so I still need to weave in the ends and block it, but here they are. So I just counted my rows as I knit it, and that way I knew I'd have the same amount. I did adjust it slightly because the very first sock that I made was just a little bit slightly loose feeling on my foot, just a little bit. Because I like socks that hug my foot, and it felt just a little bit loose. So I actually made the second sock like a row, like maybe 2 to 3, maybe even 4 rows shorter, like smaller. But like when you put them together, they look the same. But one is going to be a little bit snugger, which is actually what I wanted more of. So these are just fun little scrappy socks. Like I said, the pattern is actually a beautiful thigh-high sock. So I can find the picture. Here we go. So this is what it looks like. So you can see they have like the stretched part here, ribbing, and that it's a thigh-high sock. So they're really long. And it's using a striping yarn is actually what it is. And I didn't use striping yarn. I just literally made stripes using my different advent color yarns from the chick that knits advent that I got for Christmas last year. So this is just from extra yarn. And you guys, I still have yarn from that advent. I made 2 projects. So I made the Shake It Up shawl. I've made these little socks. And I actually still have enough that I easily can make another pair of socks like this and actually make it even a longer cuff. So I could make like, I don't know if you'd call it like a midi sock that goes like a mid calf. I don't know, but I easily have enough to do that. So this was my first time doing short row heels. I haven't worn them yet, so I don't know how it's gonna fit with my foot and everything, but knitting it was really quick because in the past I've done a heel flap and gusset, which is intricate and time consuming, and it definitely takes longer. At least for me, it seemed to take longer to make socks, where this took just, it took time, of course, but it definitely was faster than when I did the heel flap and gusset. So if these fit well, I'm gonna be really excited about doing the short rows. This is the wrap and turn for the heels. And I use the same color for the toes and the heel. So I'm really excited about how these turned out. Plus I did my own, so I just kind of made it up as I went. I just followed her patterning for this entire portion for the like the amount of stitches, the way that you do the heel and the toe. And then when I got obviously up to here, I just decided how long I wanted it. And then I decided to do a 2x2 ribbing. Let me see that. Oh dear, the light is just blasting it out. There you go. So I did 2x2 ribbing. So knit 2, purl 2. I just did that on my own. I've had that on other socks that I knit, and I really like that. It gives it some stretch, it gives it some structure, but it's not going to be too tight. It's not going to be too loose. So it's a really comfortable ribbing on a sock. So finished those for the most part. Just have to weave in those ends. And there's actually quite a few ends to weave in. I did the weaving in as you go. So they technically are woven in. However, based on just how this looks here on the side, you can tell kind of. This one you'll probably be able to tell better because I didn't tighten it. But there's the area where it actually switches coloring is a little loose there. So I'm just going to pull those woven in, like the weave as you go ends, and then I'm just going to weave them in a little bit further before I actually cut the strands. That way, with the wear, when you stretch your sock as you put it on and everything, hopefully it won't loosen those stitches because it just looks a little bit sloppy in my opinion. So finished object. It's a finished object. Yay! That's the only finished object in this video. Actually, I take that back. It is not. You know what? I'll show you the other ones in another video. I went crazy knitting cowls like a week ago. I forgot to do it last week. I did. I knit like a bunch of cowls. I just needed projects that you can finish quickly, that are easy, that don't take a lot of focus. The socks were one of them. I mean, obviously the heel and the toe took some focus, but when it comes to just the knitting, stockinette stitch, very easy. And the cowls I worked on were like that too. So I just needed that, especially with working on that cardigan. The All the Lights cardigan is very focus driven. So sometimes you just need the unwinding project where you don't even have to think. It's very meditative, and I feel like this next project definitely is meditative. So I've worked on this a lot, but actually really not as much as you would expect, and I've gotten really far because it's just really nice to work on. So the next one is the Forager sweater by Melanie Hoffman. It's a wonderful basic sweater that you just can wear all the time, and that's kind of what she wanted it for. So I'm using that Shepards Wool from Stonehedge Fiber Mill I got for my birthday, which is from a local mill here in Michigan. So I was super excited about getting that because it's a wonderful yarn. It's my first time working with it. It is 100% superwash merino. I think it's superwash. It might just be 100% merino actually. You can see the sleeves. I've separated for the sleeves. And I'm pretty sure this is where I was last week. So I have gotten a lot of knitting in, guys. A lot of knitting. So after you get the arms done, you are in the round just working down the body. Because I already did this. This is probably the most complicated part, the raglan decreases. And then you knit the body, and you can see this beautiful wool. It has these speckles of brown and white that make up the colorway itself. And the colorway is milk chocolate, so it's this beautiful kind of a heathered brown look. So see, I've gotten quite a bit done. I still have quite a distance to go, but it is getting there really quickly, and it's such a nice knit when you're in the car or if you're watching something. It's just, as you can see, stockinette stitch. It's wonderful. I so enjoy this so much. This is like my super relaxing project right now that I'm working on. The socks were like that too, but this is just super relaxing. I don't even think about counting at all when I'm working on this. I'm just going for it, and when I think about it, I'll actually measure my length. At the moment, I'm not worried. I did try it on when I had it here last week. I did try it on so I could just see how this top was fitting. It fit perfect. So I'm really excited about how the rest is going to fit. I think it's actually going to be a really nice fit. I see this being a sweater I would just throw on all the time, and I'm really enjoying these actual wool sweaters, which, if you ask my mom from years and years ago, I had this assumption that I'm sure many people have, where you think wool is just itchy, and you think it's all, like really rustic, and in the sense that it's unspun and maybe scratchy feeling, and it'll make you itch. And that's just not the case. All these different breeds that have different types of wool they all feel different. So this is merino, and it's super soft. So if you're someone who's sensitive to certain wools, try some merino. I do highly recommend that, because I have found, not only myself, but other people I know that are sensitive to certain wools, this is so soft, guys. So soft. Same thing with that Peruvian Highland wool that I dye up. Super soft. Not itchy at all. So, and that's also not a superwash wool. That Peruvian Highland wool is not superwash. So keep that in mind. All right, so a future project. Good grief, you guys. I started another project because as soon as I cast off the socks, I just really wanted to cast this on, and I found this before I was done with the socks, and it really motivated me to finish those socks quickly. And it is, I should have put down who it is by. Well, I will put it in the notes below the video, but the name of it is the Croyle. I may not be saying that right. Cowl. It's a cowl and it's brioche. So I haven't done brioche really since I'm pretty sure, since the Shake It Up shawl, which was my Advent knitting, so in December. And I really did enjoy that. So this is going to be very basic. There's no increases. It is just your, just a basic brioche. So this would probably be a really good way for you to learn brioche. Not using this pattern though. Well, I guess you could use this pattern, but you're gonna have to watch some videos because this pattern kind of assumes that it assumes you know what a brioche knit or a brioche purl is. I guess the description's pretty good. So this is a free pattern, so I don't feel bad telling you guys this, but so like she puts on here to slip 1 yarn over and then brioche purl 2 together. So when you brioche purl or knit, you're knitting 2 stitches together, or purling 2 stitches together. And so I guess that description's good, but I still feel like you should watch a video, because if you look at abbreviations, because she does not put the abbreviation, which abbreviations for brioche knit is BARK, so BRK, and then abbreviation for brioche purl is BRP, burp. So if you're looking at other patterns, that's how they will abbreviate it. And if you don't understand what that abbreviation is, you will get so confused, which I did in the past. So watch videos first, look at tutorials first, and I've definitely included links in other videos for that, but I just started it. Brioche is very time consuming. Now this is different because I'm working in the round, and in the past I had to work back and forth. But brioche basically is, normally you use one color once or twice, and watch videos. This is a terrible tutorial about brioche, but if you look into actual tutorials, that'll give you great instruction. But I just started it. So here it is, and I'm using a couple different colorways. So in the pattern, she just calls for 2 colorways. So your contrast color and your main color. So your main color is the color that falls forward from the right side. So this is your main color, this blue here and the green, and then the black is the contrast color. And then, so the colors I'm using, one is this absolutely gorgeous find that my mom struck gold, actually my mom and my sister struck gold at their local thrift store. They found this beautiful blue that is a variegated, there's blue, there's light blue, there's, I want to say there's like, it's dark gray, almost black in areas. Absolutely gorgeous. I initially was going to do socks with this, and then I thought, no. This is a decent amount of yarn. I'm going to make something bigger. So this, I'm pretty positive, is merino. I'm pretty sure this is 100% merino, or could be Blueface Leicester, so BFL. Could be that. It wasn't labeled, so I have absolutely no idea. And some wonderful person hand wound this. But they found this, and this is gold, guys. I tell you, it's amazing. So they found that, and I was like, gosh, I really want to make something with that. And I had this beautiful black from my Advent, a chick that knits Advent. It's called Onyx. So I thought, bam, look at that contrast. Wouldn't that be great in brioche? Yes, it would. So that was initially what I was going to do. And then I thought, you know what? I have another color that would be awesome as a contrast. White pine. This is my Multifarious Nature colorway. And so I decided to use those together. So these two are my main color, and then this is the contrast. And what I'm doing is alternating these two colors. This is 100% superwash merino, or actually 100% merino, not superwash. So it's 100% merino. And I am alternating this. So if you look at this, ouch, see if I can show you up close here. There you go. Now you can see it much better. So in the beginning, I just started with that beautiful blue colorway. And then I introduced the white pine and then did the blue again and then white pine. And so I'm alternating the white pine and the blue for that row where I'm using the main colorway. So basically you do a row of the main colorway and then the next row, because it's in the round, the next row you're doing with the contrast color. And you have to read the pattern, but based off of that, then you're doing either the brioche pearl or the brioche knit. So this is what brioche looks like. There's yarn overs, but that yarn over and that stitch, that is a brioche stitch. So please watch videos about that because I'm not doing this justice, but it gives you this amazing, super stretchy, wonderful fabric. So if you haven't ever done brioche, it can be very intimidating looking. It is not intimidating. It's actually quite fun to do, especially brioche knitting. When you get to the knit section where it's yarn over and then, or slip one yarn over and then knit. The brioche knit, it's so pleasant to do. And you guys just see how beautiful those colors come together. Isn't that beautiful? And because this blue is variegated, it just, that green looks like it's part of it. My white pine looks like it's part of it. So it's really, I think, turning out nicely. And I'm super excited about this combination. So that's, again, white pine. I do carry this in my shop currently. I don't believe I have it on this base. I believe it's on some merino silk blends or merino nylon blends, but this is the colorway white pine. So those together, and then Onyx from a chick that knits as the contrast. So this is stash diving, guys. I am using stash. I've been trying to use my stash instead of buying yarn all the time because, you know, it's just, I'm trying to not stockpile things. So this is yarn I already had. This is left over from my, oh, what's the name of that shawl? I did a shawl a while back that, oh, Deandra, the Deandra shawl, which is absolutely beautiful. A freeform shawl, which I highly, highly, highly recommend that pattern. Loved it. And I did my Ocean's Deep colorway with my white pine. And this was left over because I think it was a 150 gram skein of yarn, so I still had quite a bit left. And I'm so grateful that I can use it with this, which was a gifted stash. And then this one was also a gifted stash from my Christmas Advent that I got. So I got to use those. So I just started this pattern. So I've only gotten a little bit done. I have a lot more because this is actually wide enough. You can't quite tell from here, but it can be doubled. It's a cowl that you can double up, which in the picture it is doubled, which is great because that gives you an example of what that looks like. But I'm really excited about that. So that'll be a fun addition. I don't have any cowls, but now I do because I just knit a bunch. I went nuts and just started knitting cowls. I'll show you the other two at some point here coming up, but so that one is, I'll tell you who it's by, but it's the Croyle Cowl. Say that 5 times fast. Good grief. All right, whew, coffee break. Future project. So this is kind of a stash dive, but I had to get more. So I worked on a short sleeve sweater. That was actually the first sweater, or should I say garment. The first garment I ever made is a super adorable, I cannot remember the name of the pattern, but it is a little short sleeve colorwork sweater, because naturally the first sweater you ever make should be a colorwork sweater. No, it shouldn't. It really shouldn't. And I messed it up a lot. Like I screwed up the yoke. Oh, it was terrible, guys. Don't don't do that. Do a sweater like the Forager sweater where it's a stockinette. Please, like if it's your first garment, don't set yourself up to totally screw it up. But I mean, do what you will. But if you have to rip back because you screwed up the pattern like I did and didn't put a lifeline in, oh my gosh, it'll be tragic. But what I got is more yarn because I had leftovers from that because I bought more than I needed, which like quite a bit more than I needed. And I don't know why, because I did the math. Do you guys run into that? Do you ever run into that where you do the math based off of the yardage they recommend and you get as close as you possibly can and you think, oh, I'm just maybe 100 yards more based off the math, and then when you get done with your project you're like, wow, I have almost 300 yards of extra yarn. How did that happen? It could be gauge. I know it's an estimate, but crazy. So I worked with this yarn before on that sweater, and that ended up a little loose, but that could be a lot of reasons. Could be because it was my first sweater and I couldn't figure out gauge properly, but hopefully this time around I will do a better job. I feel like I've gotten a lot better with my gauging and my consistency with my knitting. So I'm going to take on another sweater. This is a tank top. So I'm trying to do some because I have a lot of winter sweaters. I would like some that are more spring and summer oriented. I have the one that is made out of the same yarn, and that is a lightweight short sleeve. And I also wanted to make a tank top. So this is, it's Kabu. It's a cotton bamboo blend by Lion Brand. It's excellent for making lightweight garments. And the colorway is silver. It's like, this is gonna get so blasted out because there we go. Because it is a really shiny light color, but it's a gray, basically. Silver, but it's gray. And it's very soft. I mean, it's cotton and bamboo. Lightweight is what they put it at. I'd say it's like a sport weight kind of yarn. And I had a whole skein, which it's 100 grams at 232 yards, and then a half, like a whole and a half of a skein left over from my last project. So for this time around, they did recommend that you have 4 skeins. So I already have 1. I have 3 that I purchased, and then I guess I have a little extra because I might make it longer than the pattern calls for. And you'll see why in a second. So as I've said in other videos, I like to make my sweaters a little bit longer. I don't like short sweaters for the most part, unless I can layer things under it, which in the summer, you're not really gonna be layering. You usually get hot, right? So that would defeat the purpose. So I might have to make this sweater a little bit longer. It's gorgeous looking though, and you'll see why. So this is another free pattern. It's by Pearl Soho, which I've done other patterns. I did their lightweight raglan, which I loved that pattern. Excellent first time sweater. But this is the tulip tank top. And it is so pretty. I love how the neckline is up here. So it's very conservative looking. It's not a low cut top. But I would say this is a top that someone would say, you're conservative up front, but a party in the back. And you'll see what I mean. Now, the one thing I love about Pearl Soho patterns is they provide you, and you can see this just going to their website, but they provide you with a ton of photos in their patterns. So this is getting closer to the back. You can see this beautiful scooping and how it just looks beautiful. And that's all the front. I want to show you the back because now you can see the back if you go to the website and look at the pattern as well. But I'm pretty sure there's a picture in here. Yeah. Here's a picture. So the back is super conservative, and then here's the back. So from most of the photos that I saw of people that did this pattern, thank goodness, there were a bunch of people that did this pattern online, your pants usually fall around here. So really there's not too much of your back that is showing, but to me it's a little psychological and I feel like my back is just hanging out. So I may make it longer. I don't know. Depending on how it's looking as I am knitting it, I may have to do that. But isn't that gorgeous? So it has a nice conservative top to it, and then the back is this beautiful tulip look to it. Actually, I mean, makes sense. That's why it's called the tulip tank top. So one thing I'm thinking of doing, I should pull this out. So I have some yarn in my stash that again was found at the local thrift store. I actually have a couple skeins of it. And it is a wool acrylic nylon blend. 53% wool, 30% acrylic, and 17% nylon. So I feel like it's very lightweight. It's Bond Street Wendy is the brand. It's Carter and Parker Limited, Gisley, West Yorkshire, England. So it's from England. I'm not familiar with this brand. I have absolutely no idea how old it is or anything, but look at this beautiful yarn. It's a light green in there, light blue, a little bit of like cream color. Beautiful, beautiful yarn. And it's this lightweight, there we go. I'd say it's a fingering weight, but it's very fluffy. So it's kind of between a lace weight and a fingering weight. So I might kick myself for doing this, but I am absolutely loving marling yarn together. I did it for that lightweight raglan sweater that I made, and I marled 2 colors together and it creates a new color. It's so beautiful. So it's like painting with yarn, you know? And for those of you who don't know me very well, I actually majored in painting in college, so I really enjoy combining colors and doing things like that. So that is something I am playing with in my mind of taking, and these are totally different fibers. So I know many people are probably cringing right now. This is cotton bamboo. This is a wool nylon blend, and I want to put them together. And I've heard so many people that say don't do that, and I understand why, right? This is like a natural animal fiber, and this is a plant-based fiber, and they're going to behave differently. They will probably drape differently. They certainly will bloom differently. Like this probably will not bloom. This really will, probably. So putting these together might be crazy. And I might not do it, you know, I might not do it, but I'm thinking about it. So I think what I'm gonna do is, because I have to do a gauge swatch anyway, I'm pretty sure this is gonna be the right gauge, but I'm gonna do a gauge swatch with these together and we'll see what it looks like. And I don't know, oh, it's blasted out so bad. This wonderful light that I have, it just like really blasts things out there. That's much better. But I think those together would just be gorgeous. As you can see from my cowl, I just love playing with color. I love it. It's why I like dyeing yarn. It's painting with dye, you know, it's so much fun. So, which is a learning curve because dyeing from the colors in the actual mixed colors versus what it dyes up as, Learning curve. Not the same thing. It's not like paint coming out of a tube that looks the way it is in the tube. So I'm thinking of putting these together. I know a bunch of you are probably like, don't do it. If you've ever done that, if you've combined a animal fiber and, you know, plant fiber, please let me know in the comments below how that went, because you could save me from making a dire mistake. Let's learn from each other's mistakes, okay? So, I mean, I let you know when I've totally screwed things up in the past, but I'm curious. I'm curious. This intrigues me a little bit. So that's a project I want to cast on. I want to cast it on so bad right now, but I'm trying not to because of my, and I'm going to tell you guys, so that poor Leander shawl, the one that I worked on a while back, and I haven't talked to you guys about it in a while. I haven't touched it since then, and I am seriously debating ripping it out. I don't usually do that, but I haven't been intrigued to work on it. And I have a bunch of color that would probably look really good with the colors that I used in that, the Leander. And I'm debating doing another Shake It Up shawl. I really enjoyed that shawl because the pattern is very intriguing. There's a bunch of different patterning. There's brioche in it. There's a little bit of lace, but otherwise it's mainly brioche, garter stitch, I think some stockinette, and so it's really easy to work on. There's some short rows, wrap and turns, and I think that would just be really pleasant to do with those yarns, because I've done that shawl and I really enjoyed it, and I got that done in a month. Now I was working on it really hard because it was my Advent knitting, but I really enjoyed it and I got it done quickly. So I am definitely debating doing that because I don't want the project to just sit there, and it's been sitting there for over a month now. I'd say probably almost 2 months, and I haven't touched it. And to me, that's kind of like a red flag that I should probably just take it apart and use it on something else so it gets used. I think that's a good idea. I think I'm gonna do it. I think I'm gonna rip it out and do that. I can't believe it. I think I am. I really do now. I think I'm gonna commit to that. Oh gosh. But see, that was when I, again, was doing so many projects. I just feel like once I get over 3 projects, it starts to become a bit much. It's like it's just too much, and it gets a little overwhelming. I don't know if you guys have that problem, but, or maybe you're a monogamous knitter, which is how I started. I would work on one project at a time from start to finish, and there's nothing wrong with that. And it feels really good when you finish the project. It's like, okay, I got it done, right? And that's, I mean, just like when I finished these socks, I really focused on them a lot so I could get them done. I worked on them on my lunch breaks, and once you finish something, it's such a sense of pride, right? It feels really good. So I feel like I have 3 big projects going on right now. You know, I've got that All of the Lights cardigan is a huge project. My good grief, I'm like losing my mind here. Forager sweater, which is a big project, not a huge one. I am definitely getting there quickly with it. This is, but it's a big project in the sense that it's a sweater, so it takes a lot of material, so it takes a lot of time. There's a lot of stitches. So that's a big project. And then this is brioche. So brioche takes a while too. So I would say these are large projects. I have 8 inches of the brioche, so got quite a bit left still that I need to do. And I feel like I should finish one of these before I cast on another project. The tulip tank. I really wanted to knit that so bad. I'm sure you guys have this problem too. Do you just have all these projects you want to do? And you know, part of it, it's all Ravelry's fault. I'm gonna blame Ravelry. Um, I don't know if you guys have stepped into Ravelry, but it opens a can of worms. There's so many wonderful projects, and you find one that you like, and then you add it to your favorites, and you just keep adding, and oh my gosh. And this video is so long. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh. I never usually make them this long, so I think I'm gonna cut this short now. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week. I hope you're happy, you're healthy, and you're creating. And I look forward to speaking with you next week. Take care. Bye.